Welcome to 20th and Blake here on the Mile High Sports Podcast and YouTube Network. I am your host, Drew Kreisman, and with me, as always, is my friend and former Major League pitcher, Mark Knudsen. And we did a show not too long ago. There's really only been one Rocky series since then. So we'll talk a bit about this Giants series, which was a weird one. There's some meat on the bone there. But I think we're going to spend most of our time today talking Players Union, owners, that stuff all came out.
Sure.
We got to dive into that some. But
part of it,
starting with today and moving backwards a little bit, the fourth time I think in 2 weeks the Rockies had to throw a position player.
I'm telling you, Brett Sullivan might win the Cy Young at this rate. I mean, he's been awesome. We found a new closer. They can't score off him. They can't score off him.
Oh man, he's got to get enough innings to qualify.
He's got enough. He is good. At this rate, he's going to be up there.
Yeah. So, ugly game for Zach Agnos. Let's start there. Is that just a look? It happens. Forget it.
It does happen, but it's happened to him a few times now, except when he started. Right when he started, he did really well, and now I don't know what to make of these relief appearances. Have been awful. So, it's a head scratcher for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I can blame it on him calling pitches from the bench. Can I do that?
Yes, sure. Why not? 19 spot today.
Not good. 25 hits. 25 hits. They didn't walk a lot of guys. They didn't walk very many.
No.
But they just kept throwing batting practice. And it's, reminds you of that Angels game a couple years ago in the Blue Jays series and just some of those flashbacks. But, hey, they won the series, right? They won the series. They're half a game. They're only half a game out of second to last place now behind the Giants, who played one more game than they have. So, the Giants are a team that they're not better than the Rockies. It's not. And if the Rockies lose 100, the Giants might lose 100. I mean, it might be a race for the bottom.
When was the last time that I'm glad you said that, because literally one of the next questions on my list was going to be, when was the last time we watched a series and felt like, this team is roughly as good talent wise as the Colorado Rockies are? Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a long while, especially in the National League West.
Yeah.
Remember the Angels series a couple years ago, maybe it was a year ago, when they got bludgeoned so bad, but they actually won that series too.
It's very similar to this.
Very similar. And that team has Mike Trout, so it's baseball. You don't make. I mean, what was that? Was it the Yankees today? Somebody had 24 up, 24 down, except in the third inning when they scored 13 runs. I think it was the Yankees today. I mean, that's just one of those things you can't even quantify. You can't say, well, that's normal. 13 runs in one inning, and you get 3 up, 3 down the rest of the game.
The rest of the time.
So that's we keep saying Bud Black. That's baseball. That's baseball.
Yeah, sure. It sure was in this one. There were some weird things. I want to dive into one especially weird thing. That was actually several weird things with you in just a minute. But did you mention the Rockies did win the set? The second team, it really felt like the Giants team that didn't want to be there.
Who was wearing Ryan Feltner's uniform?
Wow. How about that? Okay, give me your Ryan Feltner take, because I'm with you. When he came back and the Rockies was like, oh man, they kind of need some momentum against these guys. And who's on the hill? Oh no, he's.
They got the momentum at the end of the game 4 when they did the walk-off home runs.
Yes.
Tovar with 2 home runs. We have momentum going into the next game. But as I say, the momentum is actually tomorrow's starting pitcher. That's a very true axiom. And Feltner is not the guy you would have said, well, he's going to come out. He's our stopper. He was awesome. And, it's never really been a question of stuff with Ryan Feltner. He throws hard. He's got good movement on his balls. For whatever reason, starting hasn't worked for him in the past. And I don't know why. He's had all a myriad of different kind of freaky injuries. But it just hasn't worked. And, boy, if Saturday is indicative of what we're going to see from Ryan Feltner the rest of the way, hallelujah, we've got ourselves something special. But we got to wait and see.
This is, I feel like, been the thing with Feltner for his career. The believers will always point to starts like this and go, see, he's got that in there. And then people like me will always thought maybe better in a relief role, never been a total buy-in. And then, he does that and you go, and then there's those other times. But for right now, you're 100% right. You take that out of Feltner every single time.
You take that every time. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
But consistency is the name of the game, and he hasn't shown that in the past.
Right. All right. We've gone too long with talking about the man of the hour. Ezequiel Tovar is back, baby. Right? Is he?
Hope so. It takes more than one game, obviously. But, yes, He's been going better and better. He actually didn't. People thought he got off to a terrible start. I think he had a bunch of doubles in the first couple series. He was really hot in Miami and in Toronto, but then it's been, off the cliff at the plate since then. Hasn't affected his defense, which is a tribute to him. A lot of players take their offense out on the field with him, and he does not. So a tribute to him for that. He's getting hot at the right time, and what the critics are going to say. Well, now we can trade him. They can trade him because he's playing well now. His value is going to be higher and all that. And I'm like, do you want to trade that? I don't want to trade a young shortstop. I don't. They're just not. They don't fall off trees. I wouldn't trade him. But
he's not such a team-friendly deal. It's not like he's going to get way more expensive either. So no, it's such a team-friendly deal, and it's still at 24 years old. He's still getting better. That's the other thing I feel like people often, just because you've been around for so long doesn't mean that there's no room for improvement. 37-year-old Charlie Blackmon, who had won batting titles, was still in there taking BP. You're always trying to get better. But no, we loved Tovar for a while. He's had the defensive skills we knew, and then the bats coming around the pop. The first home run was a bomb. Then he got one down the line at the end of the game, which is awesome. But if he starts hitting the ball like that, that's going to soothe a lot of the aches and pains they've had, especially with all these guys on the DL. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm sorry, IL. I'm proud. I keep practicing.
I know. It's the same thing, but I know I've did a couple times. But yeah, that was an exciting one, and that was a good one for them to come back and get. We've made this.
How many games in a row? How many games in a row did they not homer at Coors Field? Like 5 or 6 games in a row.
So they needed to homer. They needed to get Tovar off the schneid. Goodman being a big part of it. Now he's kind of been going well lately, but still, you want your guy, kind of right. And then the fact that, like we said, they're kind of playing a team out here that's roughly equal in talent-wise, a chance to get some feel-good wins at home. And they blew the lead. They blew that lead late. It looked like they kicked the game away. And then the comebacks in such a huge, with 2 monster homers from your 2 franchise guys that's got to be, if not the win of the season, I'm not sure what else it would be. I'd have to think back.
So far it is because of the comeback nature. The Blake Street magic again was back for at least for one night. So definitely the win of the season so far.
So I was going to see if I could pull up this play today from the 7th or 8th inning, and I'm not finding it. Maybe it's a good thing that there's not a video of it all by itself, because I also think we maybe saw the worst play that the Rockies have made since the was it Christian Friedrich 3-run error? Do you remember that?
2013. I remember. Well, that was the year of the piggybacking.
Yeah.
We're all trying to and Christian Friedrich was like the poster boy for piggybacking. So I remember that one. Yeah, that was hideous.
But I'm not on MLB.com finding the video for this specifically, but Rocks had a rough one late of just throwing the ball around and kicking it, and then just like, oh man. Those are the moments I think they've been avoiding this year, that they haven't looked kind of like that amateurish, boy, do these guys even belong feel. And for a minute today, I felt like it's the first time where you're like,
well, young players will press and they'll try to correct the mistake in the same play instead of just eating the ball and letting things calm down. That's veterans will do that. And obviously they don't have a ton of veterans on this team. So, sometimes exuberance of youth, as they say, gets the best of you. And it certainly did in that play.
Yeah.
You're not going to ruin it. You got to find it. You got to find it on video somehow.
I'm going to see if I can find it, and I'll bring it up while we're talking. I'll get it in while we're talking other stuff if I can. The last thing I did want to ask you about on this series, and if you've got other things, let's bring it up. But do you know much about this kid? Because I know you're plugged into the Colorado scene, and I know, what was his name? Cox got into the game today.
Jonah Cox. Know him. Good friends with his father, Darren. Known Jonah since high school. We played against him in high school. He was a man playing with boys. He really was. One of my best players and he were best friends. So in fact, it was the COVID year, was his senior year in high school at Flatirons Academy up here. They were a 1A school. We were scrimmaging them, but we played them in a doubleheader. It was the only games we got to play that year in 2020. And Jonah in the doubleheader we got him out once. A line drive to the shortstop. Somebody had doubles, triples, home runs. Jonah's just a man playing against boys. And I saw him a year ago before in off season at a hitting. We talked for a while at a hitting facility in Broomfield. Great kid, just a great young man. Drafted by the A's. Had that breakout year at Oral Roberts. Then drafted by the A's and was good at the time. Was with the A's and was pretty excited about his opportunity. the shortstop in high school, but everybody was. All the great players were shortstops in high school.
Sure.
But Jonah just, I mean, Darren played a number of teams in the major leagues, ran a youth baseball organization up here in Broomfield for a long time. Darren was a catcher. Darren's a great guy. And it was so fun. I texted him this morning. I said, it's so awesome to see Jonah get his chance. Darren said, it was totally unexpected. We didn't expect, he was doing well. Didn't expect to call it, but thrilled it happened here. What a cool story. Marco Gonzalez made his major league debut here, the kid from Rocky Mountain High in Fort Collins.
What are the odds?
Son of Frank Gonzalez, the former CSU star. And Frank was a manager in the Rocky system for a number of years. And Marco made his debut for the St. Louis Cardinals here at Coors Field. I was at that game. So it's fun to see the local kids do good. Obviously, strikes near and dear to me, but see Jonah make that debut, wish him nothing but the best. He's a great guy.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I don't know if the broadcast ever tracked down the stat because he got his first career big league hit against a position player. And I don't know, that had to be such a strange, that's got to be a weird emotional thing.
Okay, but you're talking about Brett Sullivan now. He's been dealing. So that's not Brett Sullivan's been dealing. So no, Jonah could hit anybody. Don't worry about Jonah. He's going to have a nice career.
Yeah, no, fair point. Yeah, that was exciting. Great beard. Very happy for the kid from Broomfield to see him out there. And especially in a game that at that point was already decided where I could just be rooting for him to get a hit and not have to, So that's pretty cool. Other than that, a series of more or less the same.
What it is, right?
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Normal bad.
Now you got to bounce back to LA for 3 days. You just came from there. You got to go back to there for 3 days and then come back here again. So, the Angels are obviously struggling. They're right down there in the bottom, near the bottom of the standings with the Rockies as far as worst record in the league. So, a chance to keep going against similar teams, similar caliber competition. Maybe kind of shrink that gap between wins and losses a little bit. But they're still way ahead of where they were last year at this time.
Oh,
right?
so much
miles ahead. Miles ahead.
Normally, when you say they're headed to LA, you go, "Oh no!" But no, wait a minute. It's the Angels. It's a little different.
We're not playing another team.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can keep a little positive momentum. Maybe win 2 series in a row. Right?
Mm-hmm. Be great.
That's the thing. I am going to keep seeing if I can hunt down this video. I'm not going to call it a highlight, but I'm going to see if I can find the video clip.
YouTube?
Because MLB.com's video section for some reason doesn't seem to have it, which is strange to me. But I'll see if I can.
Probably embarrassed by it. Maybe the Rockies pulled it off. Get that off of there. We don't want to see that.
I'll interject with it when I do find it. But I want to. This will give me an opportunity too, and it'll give you an opportunity. Opening salvos, the players, the owners, both made their opening statements, their opening suggestions. Well, that's what they are because both.
That's all they are at this point. Is right. Well,
but yeah, give me your thoughts.
The biggest problem again, and the union addressed it. The discrepancy in local broadcast revenue. The union addressed that. And I was really happy to see that. And the owners didn't particularly rebuff that in their rebuttal. They did not say anything, no, we're going to keep things where they are. They said there needs to be more income equity. So I find that grounds for, being happy about that. I think that's encouraging. Obviously, the owners are going to, this is the first time since 95 they're going to promote a salary cap. It's not going to happen. You should just give up on that right now. And let's get that out of the way. That's not going to happen. So let's find a way to share revenue more equally. And let's have a way to do what the players union wants, which is more teams being competitive, especially when they're bidding for free agents. Tony Clark, I know he's had his problems. He's not there anymore, but he did say something really smart a while back. He said, there should be incentive to win. We need to incentivize the owners to win because they're making a lot of money when they don't win. Poster child right here at 20th and Blake, right? They don't win, they make money. You can't do that in any other job, any other profession. If you suck, your product sucks, you're not going to make money. Baseball, you can do that. And I know the owners, to a man, would like to make the Rockies the model for the rest of baseball in that regard. We don't have to win. We just have to do these other things right and fill the stands and all that and put on entertainment, and we'll make money. But the players are very adamant about wanting to incentivize winning. So we'll see how that goes. But the number one issue to me will be until they do something about it. The Rockies making no money on their local broadcast revenue. The Dodgers making $334 million a year on their local broadcast revenue. Some of that, Dodgers have some protection because it was grandfathered in after they declared bankruptcy in 2003, something like that.
Right.
Dodgers were actually bankrupt. They got protection from baseball. They got their deal is protected because of the bankruptcy situation. So I hope the lawyers can work that stuff out. But there's just no way that one team should be pocketing $334 million a year in broadcast revenue when it takes two teams to play a game, right? You have to have an opponent. That money should be shared with your opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not equally, but it should be. There's gate receipts. Like in football games, the visiting team gets some gate receipts. Why not do it like that? Why not take it from here to here or here? It's here now. Take it to here and give teams like the Rockies and the Diamondbacks and the Padres and all these teams that have no local broadcast money coming in now. Give them a fair shot at that.
Yeah.
Then you won't need a salary cap. If the revenue is the same, let the guys who spend it correctly win. Right? I mean, you spend your money right, whether it's on your farm system, whether it's on free agents, however you want to do it. You spend your money properly, like Tampa Bay does. Does Tampa still have the best record in baseball? I haven't looked at the standings.
Every time they do this, oh no, that's not real. I mean, every time they do it, I go.
So that it shows you it's how you spend your money that matters, not how much money you spend. And if they don't need to even start talking about a salary cap that will solve absolutely nothing. Let's get the broadcast revenues evened out, and then we'll be in good shape. You're acting like you got something figured out.
There are so many issues with this, and so many of them run in a lot of different directions. And I think sometimes it's hard because I think essentially, let me put it this way. There are two major issues the way I see it. One is competitiveness. How competitive is the league? Parity, right? Another word for it, right? So there's that. And then the other is the economics. So the player's fundamental argument against a salary cap is 100% correct. And the argument can be put simply this way. Why cap how much players can make if you're not going to cap how much owners can make?
Yeah.
If we're not going to create some sort of fund where that excess money goes into cheapening tickets or beers or going back to the fans or building the city that, by the way, the taxpayers probably gave you money to build your stadium. If we're not doing any of that argument is 100% correct. But a salary cap isn't about fair economics. It's about fair competition. So I agree with you. I think there are better ways to get that the union will ultimately go for. Because as you said, the last time this was on the table, this is more or less what the strike was. It's over.
Yes and no. I mean, yes and no.
Go. You tell. Yeah. You explained to me because you were there.
Yeah. Listen, there's been more parity in baseball than there have been in football. I mean, the Patriots ran the show there for how many years? I mean, there's a salary cap is just a way for owners to make more money. It really is. That's all it is. I can't spend more because, and they are, to their credit, the owners are talking about a salary floor in conjunction with a salary cap, which is another reason it won't pass because the Pirates and some of these other teams are not going to go for a salary floor.
Interesting that they even signed off on this.
I agree. That's very interesting.
Right? That the Pirates and Marlins, and some people ran the numbers under what the owners just suggested. And look, I do not like defending the owners ever. I've never taken their side in anything. What they proposed, I thought, was actually fairly reasonable. When you look at the numbers, only 3 teams currently would be over that salary cap and have to shed salary to get down underneath what they proposed. And something like 9 to 12 teams would have to up their salary and actually spend more money because of the floor, which I would think the players would be in favor of.
But the owners know that's not going to pass. They know players don't want a cap, and now you've got 2 factions of ownership that don't want a cap. The Dodgers don't want a salary cap. Why would they?
Well, sure.
And now you've got 7 to 8. What do you say? 7 or 12, 8 to 12 teams that also don't want a salary floor. This has no chance of even being discussed. It's just PR right now because the fans want it. Fans are clamoring about competitive imbalance, and they have a right to be.
Yeah.
But that's not the right way to fix it. We need to fix it. You're absolutely right. It has to be fixed, but that's not the way to do it because you have to have some uniformity. When I was in the players union and I was alternate player rep for a couple of years, we had George Steinbrenner on our side. Okay. Yeah. Of all the associations, it was players here, owners here, George over here, but George is more with us. So we know we were never going to have a problem with that kind of stuff. And we just dismissed it and it never went anywhere. And that's the way it's going to be now for other reasons other than just the Dodgers don't want it. The Mets don't want it. You think Steve Cohen wants a salary cap?
Right. No,
I don't think so.
No, and like you said, and the players don't. Like, that's obviously the thing. The players have made it very, very clear. And it's why I've never, you and I have kind of brushed up against this issue, and I always kind of dance away from arguing in favor of a salary cap, because while I do think it would work, it's just never going to happen. And so there are other things, and you've talked about revenue sharing. I will say this: you mentioned there being more parity in baseball. Yes and no. The problem that I think too many, both owners and players, and I think I'll be the voice of the fans here and say that what a lot of these folks are missing again is that competitive balance issue should be more at the forefront of the conversation, right? How do we split up the pie? And baseball fans, I think, rightfully feel like, yeah, you get into the postseason, you might have a shot. Your team can beat anybody. That's the nature of the game of baseball. But how many fan bases go 10, 15, 20 years the Mariners did just recently without making the postseason at all? And I think
guys like me, you're right. Guys like me have always promoted the fact that the Kansas City Royals won a World Series in 2015.
Right.
But where have they been since? Yeah, you'll have the small market teams rise up. Tampa's the only small market team that stays up there. Right. They have talk about magic beans. They have magic something in Tampa. And no one else is duplicating their formula. Everybody's trying, but nobody can duplicate how they do things. And I don't know how it's such a mystery, because it should seem enough people leave there and all that. The Dodgers took that formula and took it to a big market with Andrew Friedman in LA, and they figured it out too. So there's a way to do it without worrying about a salary cap. But you're right in that the small market teams that contend don't contend for long periods of time. They contend for a year, 2 years, and they bottom off again. That's fair. But you're right. Competitive balance is still the main issue, just how to fix it.
And there's just too many teams in baseball, and I feel like this is definitely different in the NFL and maybe a little bit in the NBA and NHL, where on day one, you're not a contender. And that like a third of the league the last several years has felt like on opening day, it's almost a better strategy. And this stuff has to be looked at too. The tanking, the fact that actually makes sense as a strategy, all of that has to be dealt with. That said, I was actually very encouraged. I know a lot of people, their takeaway from this was, oh man, we're going to have a lockout for sure. These guys hate each other. I read both proposals and went, this isn't that bad. Far apart.
No, I thought the same exact thing. This isn't that bad. Chicago White Sox, anybody mentioned them lately? Talking about tanking and the benefits of tanking.
Right.
They're doing really well. 2 years removed from a worse season the Rockies had. They're in playoff contention at this moment.
Yeah.
Playoffs. I mean, playoff contention at this moment, right?
Playoffs.
So, and there's no salary cap. They're figuring out how to do it. I'm with you. We have to find a way to make and Chicago's certainly not a small market team. I don't know how the White Sox get lumped into that category, but that's a joke. But nonetheless, you're right. Being competitive has to be incentivized. There has to be a reason that you have to want to try to win. I don't think the Pirates go into the season even trying to win. I think they're one of those teams you just talked about. They know they don't have a chance. They have Paul Skeens as a drawing card, and people come watch Paul Skeens. They have young players they can sell off, whatever. But I don't think the Pirates are interested in winning long term. And I think Dick Monfort has said, and I don't know if he'd go back on the statement now with the expanded playoffs or whatever, but several years ago he said, well, we think we can contend once every 5 years.
Yeah.
That's not enough. That's not good enough. This is not. You're going to have down years, but I would say 3 or 4 times in 5 years, we're going to be in thick of the playoff hunt in September. That's what your fans want to hear. Right. And that he has to be incentivized to reach that. He can't just sit back and say, okay, we're making money hand over fist, so we're good. No, but knowing Dick Monfort, I don't think he'd have made the changes he made this offseason if he didn't want to win. I think he does want to win. I think he finally realized, hey, the old way's not working. We got to try something different. And if we have to spend a little more money, fine. Walker's got some new ideas, fine. I think Dick's come around. I think Dick is incentivized to win.
Yeah. I've always submitted that Dick Monfort's problem was not that he didn't want to win, just that he didn't know how. He wasn't particularly good at it.
He wanted to win his way. He wanted to win the Monfort meatpacking plant way. Yeah.
Well put, right? Where there have been definitely years with other teams where it's like Oakland just didn't want to win, didn't care about winning, wasn't trying to win, was happy not winning.
We're going to take,
Yeah. And some of those years what was the season where Oakland's like opening day payroll was like $40 million? It was like less than what Aaron Judge was making or whatever. You're like,
it's been a while back, but I mean, think of all the great players that have come through that. The Johnny Damons and the guys that came through that outfit during those years, and they still kept winning. They still kept being in contention. I mean, this is the Moneyball era. They kept being in contention, and then they'd sell somebody off, and somebody go off and have a great career somewhere else. Carlos Gonzalez comes here. I mean, all sorts of great things happened to that organization because they weren't necessarily trying to win all the time, but they were trying to at least stay competitive most of the time, and they did that.
Yeah, the Josh Donaldson era, the Matt Chapman years where they were competitive. They had a couple 100-win seasons in there. But that goes back to that point of like, I think this is the biggest problem. If fans, because again, we're not geniuses, we're not business people. Here's what we want. In the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs are a dynasty because they did a bunch of smart stuff, and they're just in the middle of the country. They didn't have a built-in 100-year history of we're the Yankees or we're the Dodgers or these are the 4 cities people go to play baseball at the highest level. Is that you can, in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks can have one of the best players in the world and win a championship. The Denver Nuggets can have one of the best players in the world and win a championship. And now if you root for one of half the teams in Major League Baseball, and you have Paul Skeens, and you have Nolan Arenado, or who you know that at a certain point is going to come along and they're going to go play for the Yankees or the Cardinals or the Dodgers or the Cubs. Just that's not a good way to grow your sport long term.
But it does, you're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, if the Rockies had a $100 million local TV thing, not 334, but 100 million, Nolan Arenado's still a Rocky, right? I mean, so you need the teams need to be given the same tools. Give everybody the same tools and see who builds what with it. If you give everybody the same set of tools, including enough broadcast revenue, and I think to his credit, Rob Manfred's working towards that. I do believe he's working towards that. They did address that in their opening salvo, as you put it. I think he sees the need for that. He would like to, as most control freaks do, bring it all under the same umbrella of MLB.com, MLB TV, which the Dodgers will fight tooth and nail, obviously.
I don't hate that at all, but I
don't either. Well, and I'm not a big Rob Manfred fan. I don't think Rob Manfred's a baseball guy. I think he's a businessman, and I don't think he's good at what he does, but that's a good idea. I give him credit for that. And I think he wants to do it because that's the way the other sports survive and thrive. That's why Kansas City Chiefs can have a dynasty, because they have there's no local broadcast revenue involved in Kansas City. It's all in the same, goes in the same pot and split up evenly. So they get what they need. All the teams have the same tools. So yeah, I hope he pursues that. I really hope as this negotiation goes forward, that becomes front and center more so than nonsense about a salary cap. Let's get revenues even across the board, or close to even across the board. Doesn't have to be completely even. Bigger markets can bring bigger dollars, but not the 334 to 0.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I, as somebody who've always been a fan of underdog teams, except for the like John Elway and Peyton Manning Broncos, like there's a romanticism to that. I don't want to have exactly the same amount of money as the Dodgers. I want it to be an uphill climb. I like being the little guy in the fight. Like, it's kind of fun. Right, there's a reason you cheer for the baby face in professional wrestling. You want the little guy to beat the big guy because, but
that's what made October so special, right?
Yeah, right. But you just want that. You don't want it to be unfair. And I think a lot of fans rightly feel like, when you know before time that the big free agent. I always use the example of a couple of years ago. It was the Baltimore Orioles had just won 100 games. Shohei Ohtani was going to be the hottest free agent in the world. And in the NBA or the NFL, that would have been a legitimate idea. He might go to Baltimore. Baltimore's a great NFL town. Nothing wrong with going to there, playing pro sport.
Yep.
Nobody, not one single baseball fan, not one single analyst ever for a solitary second entertained the idea that Shohei Ohtani.
The only teams he was linked to was Toronto. That's the only team west of the Mississippi or east of the Mississippi he was linked to was Toronto. Seattle, Giants.
It feels like a fever dream. It's just like he was always going to go to the Dodgers.
And and ironically, it's not necessarily because of salary at this point. It's earning potential away from baseball, right?
Yeah.
But salary-wise, he's not making that much on the salary. It's all deferred. He's going to be a gazillionaire when he retires, right?
Right.
Depending on how much the Japanese government takes in taxes, he's going to make a crap ton of money back at that end. But again, that's one of these things where a salary cap. What would a salary cap do to that? If Dodgers defer his payments until year 2050.
They got to do something about those deferrals. There are a couple of those little rule things.
They've been doing deferrals since Bobby Bonilla. Right?
Yeah,
deferrals are. That's the Broncos did tons of referrals. Broncos circumvented the salary cap with that with John Elway. They did deferrals. Gave him some ownership in the team, something like that. So I'm not. there's just no way a salary cap's going to work. It's just not.
Right. And that's why I've never pushed it. Like I said, I do think if I could wave my magic wand and implement it, it would do some competitive balance correcting that I would very much like to see. But
but you have now you have a salary floor.
Yeah.
And you've done nothing about revenues. So you have a salary floor, and now you're telling the Pirates and those teams they got to pay up their payroll, but their revenues aren't going up.
But again, you got to do both. You still got to do the revenue sharing bit. You still got to do your idea on top of it. You still got to more evenly split out the money that way, I think.
I just like to see good organizations rewarded for good decisions and good farm systems and good spending their money wisely. That's what I'd like to. I like to see that. I like to see good outfits rewarded for doing good things, instead of just pocketing the money or sitting on your hands and tanking or whatever and saying we can't do this because we're not in the big market.
Well, and I'd want to see a ton of incentives about, how much percentage you got to spend it on your team and certain things like that. Because again, not only am I 100% on the side of the players, but you know me, I'm a labor guy. I'm always going to be in favor of the unions and the laborers and on the side of labor. And in this particular case, if you put aside competitive balance and you only want to talk about splitting up the pie, the owners have an obscene percentage of the pie that they do just get to pocket and keep, and they have taxpayers paying their stadiums. There are a handful of really bad contracts in the game, but beyond that, far more guys, especially since Moneyball, are getting underpaid. You mentioned the Tampa Bay Rays. How do they do it? How do they do it? Through the magic of underpaying every single one of their employees. Well,
they do that. Yeah, they do, definitely. That you don't see any. And those guys, as soon as they get a chance to get out of there, are gone. Right? But they replace them with somebody who's almost as good, who's not making less money. It's amazing what they do. It's amazing. They don't have anybody. Nobody sticks around there. No. But Manny Mandel always says, they find 2.0 war guys in the seat cushions.
Yeah.
I find change. They find those guys. They just have magic. I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing. But yeah, underpaid is fair. But underpaid on a great team, maybe that's a little better than overpaid on a bad team. I don't know.
But again, I would argue that's been bad for the culture of baseball. You know, the empty stadium, even with the good teams, no culture there. Nobody cares. Billy Beane even famously said, I kind of screwed up the sport. I don't care about what the exact quote was, but it's these hyper analytical ways of building teams and then being terrible on purpose for a little while, or doing what the Rays do, which is find a way to be good but never be interesting.
That's right. Yeah. And see, I think that's why Dick Monfort never really wanted to follow that pattern. We've talked about it for 10 years now.
The Rockies are never good, always interesting.
Right, exactly. They're always interesting without being good. But they also, the idea of having a guy and not having his jersey on sale in your clubhouse store for 5 or 10 years drives him nuts. He wants loyalty. He wants that guy in that uniform for a long time, so the fans get attached to him, and everybody sings along with the song when Charlie Blackmon walks up to home plate. That's Dick Monfort's thing. That's what he wanted. It just doesn't translate to victories.
It's fun singing the song, though, isn't it?
The outfield, yeah. The outfield.
All right. Look what I found.
Well, you found the play.
Do we want to say anything else on before we go back to having fun on business of baseball, CBAs?
Well, I don't know. I didn't find out when the next negotiations come. Maybe they're ongoing, obviously, but the next time we'll hear about it. I'd be curious to find out when they're both going to talk about what progress has been made, because I was initially encouraged by what I heard. I think you were too.
Yeah.
That this might not be such a black hole that we're looking into right now.
There is you see salary cap. Look, we all knew that was coming. At the very least, Dick Monfort and a couple of other people had soft floated the idea, so we knew they were going to say it. But it does make you go,
soft floated. I don't know about soft floated.
Okay,
pushing it really hard.
But yeah, you go that. Look, that's probably not going to stick. But the fact that the owners even came out with a pretty high salary floor made me go, hey, they're open to some stuff. Let's talk.
Well,
I mean,
they're open to it. Just the people have to write those checks aren't too open to it, though.
Yeah, right. All right, you want to see some truly terrible baseball, Mark?
This is good. Yep, I do. Hey, cue the circus music.
Yeah,
circus music.
Top of the 8th. Oh, here, we'll kill the sound. Or do we want sound? Let's have no sound.
Have sound.
We want it. Oh, okay.
I'd love to hear the sound.
Well,
I want to hear the circus music.
We got top of the 8th, 14-6. The Colorado Rockies are down at
They
this
just need
point.
a touchdown, a 2-point conversion at this point.
It's just,
Let's just get the 2-point conversion. We're in there.
it's about to get worse with Rafael Devers at the plate. This will be his 4th hit of the day, and it only gets weirder from there. Here we go.
Devers into left center base hit. Susak coming around third. Cox might catch him.
Cox is on his tail. He can score away
now. He's going to break for the plate and score a run. And the ball is still rolling. Devers will make
Here's
it
Darren
all
in his
the way
red
around
hat.
to third.
Oh, man. There you go. You got to see the family, too. A little double whammy.
Darren in his Giants hat. Yep.
Okay, on second watch, it wasn't quite as bad as it felt when I was watching that in real time, but that was pretty.
That's
yeah,
that's bad. That's a little. He's calling a Lily home run. That's bad.
Yeah, rough play.
How many errors did they give on that play?
I don't know. I'd have to go back. You at least got to give one to the center fielder, which was tough because the throw was deflected coming back in, but it was a bad throw, so you're fine there. There's got to be one on the catcher. Or the back was the pitcher who backed up and threw it back to the plate and missed there. So, boy.
And not their best day, but they won the series. They won the series.
You're a fantasy sci-fi fan, right? You remember the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies, and
I've not seen those.
Oh, really?
I'm a Marvel guy, so I don't.
Oh,
Marvel guy.
You gotta watch Lord of the Rings. Mark,
I'll check with my wife, see if she's watched Lord of the Rings.
Get a little well, then this reference won't land quite as hard for you. But there's a great famous moment from like the second or third one because the two characters are competing against how many orcs they can kill in battle, or whatever. Right. So they're always, I got 1, 2, 3, I'm up at 10, I'm at 20. And there's a great moment in the third movie where the elf guy takes down a big, massive bad guy. It is this huge epic thing, and the trumpets blare, and it's awesome, and he takes down the bad guy, and then they cut over to the dwarf, and the dwarf says, "That still only counts as one."
Good point. All losses are created.
Yeah, whenever the ball club just gets absolutely pummeled, that goes through my mind.
Donovan Mitchell would say, it doesn't matter if he was by 1 point or 20 points, it's still a loss. Right? Like he said the other day, after the Knicks knocked him out. He was by 1, he was by 20, it's the same thing.
Is it?
So anyway.
No, it's not.
It's definitely not. It's definitely
such a lie.
It's absolutely definitely not.
That reminds me of one other sports reference. It's one of the best sports commercials of all time. It was Vince Carter. And it was just slow motion of Vince Carter getting ready to go up and dunk on somebody. And the over, he's just reading over it. And he used to say, my old coach used to say, 2 points is 2 points. And then it shows him jumping over some guy, the guy in the Olympics is jumping over him, and then it finishes with, my old coach couldn't dunk. 2 points is 2 points. Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, just wash this one away and say, hey, it was a bad day. Now, you want to wonder what's wrong with Zach Agnos. You want to get that straightened out. But otherwise, just blow it off and move on.
Keep going.
Any word on is Kyle Freeland making his next start, or have we convinced him to move to the bullpen?
I don't know if someone was reading your stuff, I should say, listening to our show. So I was down at the ballpark yesterday, and somebody else asked Warren Schaefer about the possibility, and he said, absolutely not. I was surprised he didn't even leave the door open a little bit, because I was like, I get it.
It's not doing him, Kyle, the team, or anybody any good to keep doing what they're doing. The guy's a warrior. He's going to go out there and he's going to battle. He's going to give everything he has every game. But by the fourth inning, they're going to start tattooing him again. And he's not helping the team. He's just not helping the team. Now, again, who replaces him would be the big question, right? Who would come in and fill that void and give him more than he's giving him right now? And with all the guys hurt, the pickings are kind of slim. I get that.
Yeah,
that's probably where they're coming from right now.
Yeah.
If they had anybody knocking at the door down there, any young pitcher knocking at the door, I think they'd make that move.
Yeah. I will say it's been a little while since I thought to myself, you do this a lot in the beginning and then you stop, but Buddy Black would have answered that differently. And not that the eventual move or context would even really have changed, but Buddy would have left the door open just so that if he's forced into putting Kyle Freeland into the bullpen in a month or two, he doesn't have to come out because I know I said I'd never, but he was very aware of that possibility of not wanting to go on record saying, but Chafe said, hey, he's here to start for us. And I went, well.
We will in our lifetimes, as watching the Colorado Rockies and attending those press conferences, never have a better guy to talk to before and after games than Bud Black.
No.
Warren Schaefer doesn't hold a candle to Warren Schaefer. Most of the time when I'm down there, doesn't even want to be there. He would prefer not to be there.
I think he's gotten
Bud
better.
Black was awesome. He has gotten better at it, certainly. Last year, he looked like a deer in the headlights. Last year, he was scared to death. He didn't want to be there. Buddy was a natural. He'd sit there and he'd just joke with us, and he'd have all sorts, ask us questions about our families and stuff like that. He was a joy to be around, which is why so many of us were unhappy when he got fired, because we missed that.
I've seen fans who absolutely hated that day. Like, everybody in the press loves him because he's nice to them. And I was like, yeah.
He wasn't just nice. He was smart. He was articulate with this. He was respectful. And if somebody was wrong, he'd tell you you're wrong. But he had a professional way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think we appreciate the fact that he would be professional in our dealings. I played against Bud. I had known Bud for a long time. And he would talk, I think I've told you this. When I first got my first high school job 10 years ago, he was the first guy I went to. I said, what do I do? He said, he gave me some pointers, and he said, he's really proud of me for doing this, blah, blah, blah. And gave me some pointers. And I always went back and leaned on him. What should I do here? Big picture stuff, not little picture stuff. But no, I miss him a lot. I wish he was still here. But I wish he had retired the year before, at the end of the season before, on his terms, instead of having it go so bad last year.
Yeah.
Because he earned that. He earned that.
I wish he had retired and just moved into a front office role, or still was around the team in some capacity, just because I agree with you. I have so many phenomenal baseball conversations with that man. He was so gracious with his time and would just talk with you, and wouldn't, despite all of his years of experience and his job title and the fact that he's, I think, a Hall of Fame manager, right? I think he has to be. I mean, he's top 10 in wins and things like. I know the overall record, he never won a World Series, certain things, but I think he's a Hall of Fame manager, and he never big time. He never made you feel like you didn't belong in the conversation, or he'd ask you, what do you see on that play? This is what I saw. What do you see?
You're right. That's exactly what he would do, and he'd do it pretty much on a daily basis. He was that way, and the fans who were clamoring for him to get run out of town last year and the year before failed to remember he was the last guy to take this team to the playoffs. And you give him the right players to work with, he's a very good manager, as you just pointed out. Give him some talent. Give him Tony Gwynn and those guys. He'll go places. Give him what they had last couple of years. It was a no-hoper no matter who was the man. I think what Dave Roberts say, Casey Stengel the grade couldn't win with this team. And he's absolutely right. So I don't know. Bud's in. Maybe we'll see Bud sometime when he comes in town with the Padres. But I think he's just hanging at home and working from home probably most of the time.
Yeah, probably smart for a while. But I hope we all get to chat with him again sometime. So reach out sometime, maybe in a year or so, and see if he wants to come on the show or something like that.
Ooh, there you go.
Because I'll bet he'd love to talk some Rockies at some point. But you got to let it.
It'd be fun.
Got to let it. Yeah. All right. Yep. I don't have any magic beans. No magic beans. Nothing.
What?
Nothing happened this week. Umpires were perfect this week. Congratulations, Major
No.
League.
I saw something in passing, maybe on ESPN.com, about some ABS screw up today.
Oh, that's right. This just happened today. I was out of the house for a bit today. I think in the Yankees game. Of course, the Yankees would get the first benefit of the ABS system just not working. There was a glitch and it just didn't pop up. They didn't work.
Oh, okay.
It's hilarious to me that people were up in arms about that, because I was like, so.
I know. It's so new, but now we've already come to expect it. It's like this has been around forever. Why isn't it working?
Yeah. It's like, I did, because I think somebody the reason I saw it is that somebody with a big following posted it on social media and was basically like, if we're going to have ABS, this can't happen. And I was just like, what do you mean it can't happen? We can't still have umpires call the balls and strikes, which is still how most of it is already done anyway. What are we doing here? Yeah, it was a strange
one technical glitch out of how many? I bet there's been 10,000 of those plays already. Literally 10,000 already this year.
Right.
You probably could find the exact number. And there's been one technical glitch. We can't have this. There's been one glitch in 10,000 attempts.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how many people thought, ahead of time that was going to be the big issue, or can it measure this way, or it's going to be technical. Can it go up and down a couple of inches to adjust for people's heights? And it's like, none of that's been a problem. And then 2 months into the season, there's a tiny one and people go, oh, you guys.
We can't have this.
Cannot have it. Cannot have this.
So there's no, other than that, it was a quiet week for Magic Beans.
Quiet week for Magic Beans. Yeah, that was the only thing. And like you said, it was today. The Rockies is still atop the charts in terms of net value added, though, again, in the last week, I don't remember a single major impactful one. There were a few that during their big inning yesterday, Eddie Julian left a potential bases loaded walk on the table by not challenging one. That was the closest I got to, but that was like,
that's when he struck out 10 innings.
Yeah. But then they scored 8 runs and won comfortably anyway. So it's not like, but yeah, man, it's, good system. I love it. It's working perfectly. Good job, everyone.
Okay. It's working perfectly, but at what percentage that you'd like to see it working at? It's what, 10% now you'd like to see that get to 100% work. You can do this the whole time and make sure it works.
Yeah.
Give the umpires the glasses. Give them their glasses.
Let's see, real quick update on who the best and worst umpires have been. And I would think that those percentages have been roughly the same. Did you write anything? This isn't loading right now. So what'd you write for this week?
Oh, boy. I haven't, what did I write for? Well, I do it tomorrow. So I want to know, I guess I'll break it on here. Jared Bednar has to go, and David Carl from DU needs to replace him.
Oh, see, like with you, you've always got the second part of it.
Carl turned down the Toronto Maple Leafs today.
Is that right?
Today, he said no, not going to Toronto. The Maple Leafs were hot after him. Today he said no. They haven't made any announcements at Ball Arena yet. So anyway, that's first thing. Second thing is, I think this is probably falls in the fake news category, but we saw that blurb about Joker wanting to play for the Lakers at some point. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's probably made up. I don't know. But would you think about that? I don't know. Anyway, he's going to sign a long-term extension, but that doesn't mean he's going to be here forever. So that's something to think about. And then I can't remember what strike 3 is yet. I haven't done it.
No.
I haven't written it yet.
We'll all find out together.
Yeah,
Lance
I'll let you know.
Barrett has moved into top position for most missed calls.
Really?
Yeah, Lance Barrett.
That's such a dubious distinction at this point, isn't it? I'm the worst umpire in baseball.
Who's been overturned the most?
Guys see me, I'm behind the dish, and they start tapping their hats in the middle of the for the game. Start patting their hats. They look at me. Can you see? What if you're an umpire and you're standing behind home plate? There's a home plate meeting, and everybody breaks up, and you just glance over the dugout, and everybody in the dugout's going like this.
That was the one other thing. Let me see, because there was a funny moment. I will say, as someone who's been a bit frustrated
there's going to be funny moments with this. You know that.
I'm trying to remember if it might have been Laz Diaz, who has never been my favorite. But I think it was with Sal Perez early in a game. I'll see if I can find this, if not for now, for next week or something. And it was Perez got 2 calls overturned in a row, and they were both on like high pitches near the top of the zone or something like that. And then a third one was up there, and it was way high, and it wasn't even really close. But Laz leans down and started looking at Sal Perez like, I was like, okay, that's good, that's funny. Like, do you think it was a strike? I was like, okay,
good.
Yeah.
The umpires need to be able to laugh at themselves. They need to be able to do that. That's good.
That was.
And one thing we've been talking about, the collective bargaining agreement, or our first round of negotiations. Has that been brought up at all? I didn't read past the part about
I didn't either.
Revenue sharing. I wonder if that's going to become a topic. If ABS is going to become a topic in the collective bargaining.
I do too. Here you can see this. So Diaz misses that call there. We got top of the 5th, Royals, Red Sox, top of the zone. Funky pitch, Connor Wong, or is that the pitch? Yeah. Lugo missed his spot, but hey, it just clipped the zone. Barely.
Yes, got you there. Look at that. Wow. I'm telling you, this is exactly why hitters are going to hate this.
Yeah, but I told you, they're getting the benefits east and west, so they're going to love it that way. They're drawing more walks. Hitters are drawing walks are at an all-time high. Almost the same thing. Breaking ball, backs up, back
Another
door.
one, yeah.
So see, Sal's looking at the hitter. I got it.
Not a good one.
I got you. He's like, no, I'm sure of it. I'm sure on this one. That's a lot
Jeez.
more
baseball.
Yeah. Right.
And now Laz has steam coming out of his ears right now.
But man, you know what? If they all handled it this way, I'd give them a round of applause. Look, this is way up. No, look at Laz Diaz. Look at him. Are you sure? Hey.
You sure?
Hey, you sure?
That's great.
Let's
sense of humor. That's good.
Let's have fun. It's a kid's game.
That's good. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. See what they do this week. You told us what you're writing about. I got a Mickey Moniak thing up there on milehighsports.com. So,
any feedback to your greatest pitches of all time of Rockies in history? Greatest fastball, curveball. Any feedback to that?
No, I've been surprised. I haven't had too many people. I don't know if that just means everyone universally agrees and I nailed it, or if people don't want to hurt my feelings.
That's how you got to take it. You got to take it that we all agree. People only complain when they're only reply when they're angry. So
you know, I've noticed that.
Right.
It's the hot takes. Yeah.
That's right. All right, good
all
stuff.
Right. That's all I know. So,
all right.
Well,
till next time.
Yeah, doing our thing. Everybody out there, keep doing your thing. Make sure you're subscribed to stuff, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, I assume, all that stuff. Reading the content, I don't know. Read the content at milehighsports.com. There are still written articles written by human beings like Mark and I that exist in the world for you to enjoy. So we hope you will do so. Other than that, we can only ever continue to be absolutely Mark Knutson and Drew Kreisman in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.